hello, it's Munira here, the voiceover behind the slides. Yeah, nice to meet you. So we're ready for part 2, where we'll be discussing about the nomination candidacy and also the nomination process itself. So basically the preconditions on becoming a chalon, what to bring on the nomination day, what not to do on the nomination day, and so on. So stay tuned.
So, who can be a candidate? You boleh ke? I boleh ke? Or your neighbours? Fortunately, for the sake of Malaysia's future, anyone can be a candidate if they satisfy the preconditions. First of all, you kena jadi Malaysian citizen. Second of all, if you're contesting for a parliamentary seat, you kena jadi 18 tahun ke atas on the nomination day, and you can reside anywhere as long as it's within Malaysia. Tapi, kalau you are contesting for a state assembly seat, you can either be 18 or 21 years old on the nomination day, depending on the state you're contesting for. And in terms of residential, you can reside in the same state that you are contesting for. Also, you must be sound of mind and not listed as a bankrupt, not holding an income position, not a person who has failed to submit the election expense statement in the previous election, and not someone who has been convicted by a court and sentenced to imprisonment for not less than 1 year or fine of not less than 2,000 ringgit and has not been pardoned. Or not a person who has obtained other citizenship or enjoys privileges as a citizen of another country. So, tolong ingat that you must satisfy the preconditions to become a candidate, because if not, your nomination paper will be rejected by the election officer and that will be a waste of determination and energy. Jadi, you dah satisfy the preconditions to be a candidate. So what's next? Your focus should be on the nomination day. The submissions of forms would differ depending on the type of election you are contesting for, but briefly, you must submit the following documents. Kalau you are contesting for a parliamentary seat, you perlukan pertama nomination paper iaitu borang 4, election deposit RM10,000, election campaign materials deposit RM5,000, statutory declaration borang 5, dan consent letter atau lebih dikenali sebagai watika pencalonan to contest and to use the party symbol. Tetapi kalau you are contesting for a state assembly seat, apa yang you perlukan adalah nomination paper borang 4A, election deposit RM5,000, election campaign materials deposit RM3,000, statutory declaration borang 5A, and the same consent letter watika pencalonan to contest and to use the party symbol. You kena ingat semua borang dan deposit yang I bercakap perlu diserahkan kepada election officer within the specified time period, which is only from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. on the nomination day. So you have to be very prepared because the time given is only 1 hour and there must be no earlier or later submissions. If you fail to submit the required forms and evidence of deposits, the election officer may reject your candidacy accordingly. Jadi macam mana you nak bayar the seat deposits to the election officer? You boleh bayar in cash or bank draft, and you boleh bayar from the date the writ is announced until no later than 10 a.m. on the nomination day. The same method goes for the election campaign material deposit. Jadi what happens kalau you gagal untuk bayar the deposits? Well, for election deposit, the election officer will reject your nomination paper. But if you fail to pay the election campaign material deposit, basically you won't be allowed to use any materials during your campaign. And if you insist on using the materials without the director's permit, you may be liable to a fine of not more than RM3,000 ataupun penjara tak lebih setahun ataupun kedua-duanya sekali. Tapi jangan risau, sebab these deposits are refundable to you but subject to certain clauses in the Election Offences Act. But unfortunately for election deposit, you will lose your right to claim if you fail to obtain 1/8 of the total votes casted. As for the election campaign materials deposit, it will be refunded to you once the election director is satisfied that the campaign materials have been removed within 14 days after the voting day. But hold up. What if you came on the nomination day and tiba-tiba you macam, alamak, I tak boleh buat lah, I tak boleh contest. I don't want to do this. Boleh ke you withdraw your nomination paper? Jawapannya boleh. Cuma the withdrawal must be done before 10 a.m. on the nomination day. This means after 10 pagi you dah kena teruskan with your candidacy lah kalau you diterima. Jadi a quick one. What should you as a candidate not do on a nomination day? Senang je. Basically, you ataupun kawan-kawan you tak boleh guna any music instruments ataupun pembesar suara untuk support you on the nomination day. Maksudnya macam huha-huha tu memang cannot. And remember, if you're not an involved person on the nomination day, do not come and linger, specifically within 50 meters from the board of the nomination centre. And if you fail to comply, you boleh dikenakan penjara tak lebih setahun ataupun dikenakan fine tak lebih RM3,000 ataupun kedua-duanya sekali. So, next time you intend to become a candidate, you can revisit this video subject to further amendments. So that sums it all up, the nomination candidacy and also the nomination process. We'll see you in part 3. Bye!